Have you ever wondered how your body reacts so quickly to certain stimuli? Like when you accidentally touch a hot stove, you immediately pull your hand away before you even have time to think about it. Or when you're driving a car and suddenly slam on the brakes, your foot automatically applies pressure to the brake pedal without any conscious effort on your part. These are examples of reflexes, and they're all thanks to reflex arcs. In this video, we'll explore what reflex arcs are, how they work, and the important role they play in our daily lives. So let's get started. First off, what exactly is a reflex arc? Well, it's a neural pathway that your body uses to respond quickly and automatically to certain stimuli. When a stimulus like a hot stove or a braking car is detected, a reflex arc is triggered and sends a signal to your spinal cord and brain. Your brain then processes the information and sends back a response, which could be anything from pulling your hand away from the hot stove to flexing your arm muscles to prepare for a punch. The entire process happens in a fraction of a second, which is much faster than the time it would take for you to consciously process the stimulus and decide how to respond. But how does this lightning-fast response happen? Let's take a closer look at the anatomy of a reflex arc. Every reflex arc has 5 basic components: a receptor, a sensory neuron, an interneuron, a motor neuron, and an effector. Together, these components form a pathway that allows for quick and efficient communication between the stimulus, the spinal cord, and the brain and back again. The first component of a reflex arc is the receptor, which is responsible for detecting the stimulus. Receptors can be found throughout your body, including in your skin, muscles, and organs. When a stimulus like heat from a stove or pressure from a braking car is applied to a receptor, it triggers a response. For example, when you touch something hot, the heat receptors in your skin send a message to your spinal cord through a sensory neuron. The next component of a reflex arc is the sensory neuron, which carries the message from the receptor to the spinal cord. Sensory neurons are specialized cells that transmit information about the external world to the brain and spinal cord. They're responsible for things like touch, pain, temperature, and movement. Once the sensory neuron delivers the message to the spinal cord, it's passed on to an interneuron. Interneurons are located entirely within the central nervous system, and they serve as a kind of middleman between sensory neurons and motor neurons. In the case of touching a hot stove, the interneuron in the spinal cord receives the message and quickly sends a signal back down the spinal cord through a motor neuron. The fourth component of a reflex arc is the motor neuron, which carries the signal from the spinal cord to the effector. Motor neurons are responsible for controlling muscle movement. When the motor neuron receives a signal from the interneuron, it quickly transmits it to the appropriate muscles, causing them to contract and your hand to pull away from the hot stove. Finally, we have the effector, which is the muscle or gland that carries out the response. In the case of touching a hot stove, the effector is the muscle in your arm that pulls your hand away from the heat. Other examples of effectors include the muscles in your legs that cause you to kick when you are playing soccer, or the glands in your mouth that secrete saliva when you're hungry. So there you have it. That is how reflex arcs work and how they allow your body to react quickly and automatically to stimuli. Reflexes are an essential part of our nervous system, and they help protect us from harm. They also allow us to interact with our environment in a seamless and efficient way. So next time you reach out to grab a hot cup of coffee or slam on the brakes while driving, take a moment to appreciate the amazing reflex arcs that are hard at work keeping you safe and mobile. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about the human body, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. With that said, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.